Today we're going to be talking about how to come up with other ways of generating business outside of just working leads. This is not a training to push people away from working leads, because leads really, to me, is like the name of the game. Leads is really what gets you out there to see people, to write business. And I think everything else is just, a little bit extra. But who doesn't want to make at least a little bit of extra money? And I think the opportunities we're going to be talking about today as well can really make up for maybe some leads that you just don't get anywhere with. It happens every once in a while. I've ordered leads. I've done an order of 25, 30 leads before where I just don't have a whole lot of luck, maybe only write a few applications. But what will make up for the people slamming the door in your face, not wanting to do anything with you, is a lot of the different opportunities that we're going to be talking about today. Just different ways of generating business outside of just working leads. And I got Chris Smith, as you can see. I got Chris on here with me as well. How you doing this morning, Chris?
Another busy Monday, but I'm excited to share the idea of making extra money with this little cherry on top concept.
Yeah, I'm sure you would agree. Leads is really what we got to focus on, but there's other ways to get additional business outside. We can't just strictly focus on leads.
No, I think the fact is that, especially in that new agent phase, doing these little extra things when you don't have a ton of leads creates early habits that lead to long-term success. Like, I was never very good at asking for referrals because I was never very good at doing that from the very beginning. But if that was a skill I had picked up from the beginning, I can't imagine what additional business I would be getting. So other ways to get clients besides leads, great way to really pick up that extra side of the business.
Yeah, and that's just something too. You don't want to be a new agent and then 15 years down the road think about, man, what if I was doing what if I had been asking for referrals all this time? All the additional business I would have written. Like, do that from the beginning. The more you can write at the beginning, it's going to make your career, your job, a heck of a lot easier down the road. So let's go ahead and get started here. And again, today's title: Unlocking Opportunities, Insurance Success Beyond Leads. So as I mentioned, leads is really what we're leading with. It should be your main focus. To be successful, I think you do have to have that steady flow of leads, and you got to be consistent when it comes to ordering leads every single week. So that really does need to be your main focus. Different recommended types of leads. First and foremost would be the direct mail. I think that is the primary focus, is direct mail. The only time I'd recommend not working direct mail would be, if you're maybe just getting started, you don't have direct mail of currently accessibly available, then you can focus on maybe some Facebook leads. Facebook leads, though, too, they seem like they're harder and harder to come by. There are not nearly as many lead vendors doing Facebook leads these days as in the past. I think a lot of these different regulations that are coming about, like the second quarter of this year, maybe, I don't know if that's shooing some vendors away or not, but I was even looking over the weekend, just researching different Facebook lead vendors, and there's just not many the way there used to be. So what that means too, if you are placing Facebook lead orders, that could mean that you're not going to get those leads as quickly, because if agents are all running to place orders with one vendor, that could delay the processing of those orders and things like that. So yeah, direct mail. Another thing with direct mail, you're ordering those leads by zip code. Direct mail, you're ordering the leads by zip code. And what that does, that puts you in front of a lot of people, all within just a few minutes apart from one another. So you're not driving all over the place trying to catch up with people. And I've even screwed up time and time again, where the convenience of ordering Facebook leads, it's so easy because I could place a lead order, and a lot of times I do get those leads very quickly. So that's nice. I'm not waiting around 4 or 5 weeks for the leads. But the problem with the Facebook leads is that they're not right down the street from one another. They're spread out all over the place. And it gets pretty tiring when you're out running leads and you're driving all over the globe trying to catch up with people. I mean, I get real tired doing it that way. Where with the direct mail again, or with everything so close together, you get a lot more accomplished. You get a lot more done throughout the day. You're able to see a lot more people throughout the day because you're doing a lot less driving in between stops. And so even if you're paying more money for direct mail leads, to me, time is money. That Facebook lead that is 35, 40 minutes apart from the last Facebook lead, it's costing you money because you're seeing less people within that time. And you're spending more money on gas. So it really evens out. So, I mean, overall, when it comes to leads, I think that especially if you're out in the field, the focus needs to be direct mail, and you just got to be focused on placing those lead orders every single week. Yeah, I'm sure you'd agree with that too, Chris.
Absolutely. I think too, when you're in an area where you're working rural, maybe you're working direct mail, but there's very few houses from one stop to the next, or you're working Facebook or digital leads. What are you doing during your drive time with today's theme, which is business outside of the singular lead? Like, do you have a bunch of voicemails like me where I could be calling somebody, calling existing clients, texting existing clients, looking for every single opportunity and not just zoning out if it's a 45-minute drive from here to here? Like, your entire focus when you're in the field and in the car and in sales mode should be, who's got my money? Where's my next opportunity? Where's my next presentation? Just because Miss Betty's calling you and left a voicemail about who's my beneficiary again, well, maybe you can get her back on the books to do a policy review and look for new opportunities. So don't just think, yeah, well, I got to drive from here to here. That's my leads for the week. You can't be finding profitable things to be doing during that drive time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, Chris. Yeah, I like that idea too. I mean, why not when a client calls you about something? I mean, why not try to set up a time to catch up with them? See how they're currently set up. You just never know. I mean, I've run into it where I might have a client where they took out a policy with me, and then maybe 6 months later they took out another one, and it wasn't with me. And it's because people inquire a lot. They fill these lead cards out. There's other people that are getting in the houses. You can try to talk to your clients about not filling out more lead cards, but sometimes people, they just keep filling stuff out. Maybe they just want to see what else is available, what else is out there, even though I know I probably put them in the best situation that is out there. But yeah, it's always good to stay in front of your clients, because if you don't, somebody else is going to. And that's we're going to be talking about that today too.
You said a while ago, if they've responded to this form of marketing before, they're going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And people get all a butthurt about it. Like, man, my client filled out another lead, or, oh, my leads are exclusive. They responded to that form of marketing. They're going to do it again. Like, if you get on the Lululemon email list and they know that you clicked on an ad, they're going to keep clicking on ads because they know you respond to that form of marketing. The way I look at it too is only 2 to 5% of our clients, or seniors, a very small percent of seniors respond to direct mail marketing. When you look for the cherry on top and the clients outside the leads, there's your 95% of other people you're never going to see because they don't fill out leads. So isn't that really good motivation to see who else can I find, because I know I'm never going to find them on these leads?
Most definitely. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be getting into a lot of that here.
Awesome.
To kind of go through, like I said, just different ways outside of just working the leads. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and move forward. Referrals, there's multiple ways of getting referrals. One way is when you are solidifying a policy that you just wrote. And that's when I like to ask, I'm solidifying the sale. And I talked about this last week too, at the end of the presentation. You might wonder how I get paid. Well, I get paid a commission by you taking this policy out and keeping it in force. So I'm glad you are serious about your decision today. And I also get paid by you giving me names of 5 people who not necessarily want to take out a policy, but would at least like to hear about what we talked about today. So right there. And again, my opinion on this, or my feelings on this, has always been, I just helped this person with something and they're happy that I was able to help them. So now because I was able to do something for them, it's almost like I feel like they're more willing to help me if they know I'm going to get something out of it. Like they want to help me, but it's funny. They're more willing to help me if they know I'm actually going to make a commission, or if I'm actually going to get something out of it by getting those referrals. So that's why I say it the way that I say it. You might wonder why I get paid. Well, by you giving me a few names, I'm getting paid, which is actually true, because I mean, if they give me 5 names, I'm going to write some business. So that's why I ask it, or why I ask for referrals the way that I do. And it seems to work. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can ask for referrals, but at the end of the day, you just have to ask. If you don't ask, you're not going to get them. And it's real easy when you're in a house too, and you're all excited that you just wrote an application. And sometimes you're so excited that you're ready to just move on to the next. Then you get back to the car and you're like, shoot, I probably should have asked for some referrals. Another thing that happens when you ask for referrals and you make a habit out of asking for referrals is that, well, you're going to start getting more and more referrals, because when you're writing business off of a referral, well, they know that that's how you generate business, because someone else had given you their name. So now they just kind of know that's just kind of how the business works. So when you ask them for referrals, they're not going to be surprised, because someone had asked, you had gotten that referral and their name handed out to you. So they're not as hesitant, I guess you could say, because they just kind of know that that's how it works. So get in the habit of doing it. And like I said, too, in the past, referrals are free leads. So take advantage of that. Again, that's what's going to make up for the people that are slamming the door in your face.
I think that it's also really helpful if you're going to ask the question, which you should, and you pick up a referral, to call them right then and there. Like what I can tell you, there's been times where I had an entire sheet of referrals and never did anything with it. Like, what was the point? It was almost a waste at that point. If you're going to get the referral at the point of sale, flip it that day. Miss Johnson, I appreciate you writing down Adam Brsan's name, your brother who lives down the street. Let's give him a call real quick, see if I can stop by today or at least tomorrow so I can make sure to share the information with him. Why don't you give him a call on your phone right now? Because he might not answer if I call. And
yeah,
there you
exactly.
go. Hey, Adam,
Yeah,
I'm sitting here with your sister, Jane. I'm have her introduce you and then roll the referral into an appointment right then and there, instead of taking that piece of paper and putting it in your bag and doing jack with it.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I think that, when you're in the house, heck, I have a little bit of time right now. Why don't you get a hold of them and see if they're available? Call them, because one thing to remember: people don't answer their phones to people that they don't know. A lot of people have it set up where if you're not a contact in the person's phone, it's just going to go straight to their voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
So have your client call their friend, the referral, or their relative. And while you're there, they can get you on the phone. You might be able to head straight over there and write the business right then and there. But yeah, that's the best way to do it. You can try to get their address, but it's a little bit more difficult. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said, people, they're just not answering their phones. So we got to figure out ways to overcome that. Now, and that's okay. And I have that right on here, have your client call the referral. So we're just kind of ahead of ourselves here. Try to get their name, address, phone number, and relationship to the client. And, like I just said, I just happen to be about 10 minutes from you. I have a little bit of time right now. Will you be around for a little bit? Try to get there. The sooner you get there, the better the chance is that you're going to do some business together.
You know what's crazy, Adam, is I think the people, it's probably on a slide somewhere because we're that predictable. The people that you would get a referral of, like say I presented to you, you referred me to your sister, are the very same people that as soon as you make a purchasing decision, you're going to tell that person about. And by getting a referral, not only does it give you an opportunity for a free lead and a new opportunity, but it strengthens that initial piece of business. Because if Adam's going to talk to his sister Jane about the sale anyway, wouldn't you have rather talked to Jane in the first place? I just think that those first tier people that people are going to talk to, that they're going to refer to, you're going to want to have in your good graces anyway.
Yeah, that's another good point. That makes a lot of sense. And heck, if you do a good job, I mean, they're not gonna hesitate to tell their friends about you and get you to go see their friends because it's a good thing, and they want to make sure that their friends are protected as well. Another way that I have done this and asked for referrals too is I'll ask them. I'll say, let's think about anybody that you know where if they were to pass away, it could affect you financially. Meaning, if they don't have coverage, there's a good possibility that someone's going to be asking you for help. Anybody that you can think of that kind of falls into that category, those are people that we need to help because you took care of yourself. You got to pay your premium each month. I know you don't have a whole lot of extra money laying around either to be paying for other people's funerals. So, who else do you know that kind of fits into that category? And we'll make sure to help those people.
Other people in the home, is that on the slideshow at some point? I don't want to steal more of our thunder, but other human beings in the home?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mind if
Yeah.
I
I
take
don't
that one
think.
for 60
Yeah. Go
seconds?
for it.
So I was in a home last week, existing client, trying to take up one more hour of my day before I went home. And I was either going to be productive for an hour or sit in traffic for an hour. It's like that 5 or 6 o'clock time frame I'm sure we all know about. And I go see an existing client, just get into the home, see if there's any new opportunities there. Well, her Medicare was fine. His Medicare was fine. She had just had a stroke. He was half asleep. There really wasn't any new life business on the table, but their son was there. And their son looked to be about 50 or older. And I asked him, how old are you? You're looking to be about, 40, 50. I'm 55. You working or retired? I'm on Social Security. Perfect. You have insurance? Like there's other people there that you could potentially help. And if you've already been in that home before or helped somebody there at that time, I think we get so short-sighted into thinking sometimes, Adam, the only person that I can talk to about final expense coverage is Mr. Donald Boone. His name is on the lead, his age, his phone number. I am only allowed to talk to Donald Boone about insurance. And if there's another person there, I can't talk to him. But there's always situations where there's more opportunity that I think we need to keep our eyes open to.
Well, yeah. I mean, why would you not want to ask about the other people that are in the house? I mean, heck, I mean, I always do. I mean, whether it's their kids, if they got grandkids running around, it's important for everybody to be covered. And again, because if they don't have that coverage, it is going to affect the person that you just helped as well financially. So that's why, again, I mean, I think it's something everybody needs, and let's do what we can to help as many people as possible. Next would be group presentations and events. Sometimes we get leads that put us into a lot of these buildings. If you have a lead who lives in a high-rise apartment building or senior community, ask the building manager or event coordinator if you could schedule a time to educate the residents. It's a great way to reach a great number of people. And now, if you have a lead who lives in a high-rise, again, like I mentioned, ask that building manager. What am I doing here? I'm repeating myself. Sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
If you can, I'm so used to not looking at presentations anymore. We just do so much talking that now when I'm looking at something, it's like I'm not used to doing it this way as often. But anyways, yeah, if you can schedule an event, be sure to pass out flyers weeks in advance to get the most out of the attendance. And all you got to do, honestly, you go down, you talk to the event coordinator, you let them know what you do. You let them know that I always say it's always a good time. We always have a good time. We bring snacks, we bring refreshments, we do raffles, and that's all they really care about. The event coordinator, like, are you feeding our people? Like, are you giving them at least a little something? That's all they really care about. So just let them know, yeah, it's always a good time, but it's putting you in front of a lot of people at once. And I don't feel like you're going to write a ton of business that first day. I know a lot of agents think that they can just run their business around these group events at senior complexes. You might write maybe one app, maybe two apps, depending on how many people show up. But where you're going to generate a lot of the business is through a lot of the follow-up. And what I do, like I mentioned, I'll mention that we do like a raffle. I will I'll take either like a bunch of like note cards, or maybe even I have like a brochure from a certain carrier, where maybe there's like a little perforated card where they can fill out their information, their name, their address, their phone number. And I will use those as like raffle tickets. So I will, I'll pass all of those around, and I'll let everybody know that we're going to be doing a raffle. Usually I'll do like a $25 gift card for like a local restaurant, or maybe like a store like Walmart or Target, something like that. But that's all you need to do. I mean, heck, $25, they're happy. But anyways, we're going to be raffling off this gift card. So here's your ticket. Be sure to fill out your information. What are you doing when they're filling out all that information and they're giving you that raffle card back? You're creating leads of everybody that came to that event. So whether they did something that day or they're going to do something in the future, you now have their information, and you can go back and you can catch up with them. And that's usually what I do. I'll end the event. Maybe I'll write an app or two, and then I'll just keep trying to get back into that building. I already got all the people's information, so I'll just try to get back into the building, and I'll door knock those cards just like direct mail leads. I'll walk around the complex and just knock on the doors of the people that were at the event, let them know that I was there a few days ago. They'll remember me, and I'll just tell them that I was catching up with some of the people that were at the event, and I'll see if they'd like to maybe get a quick quote that it'll take about maybe 5 minutes or so. So that's how I generate the business out of something like that, not from the initial event, but the follow-up from the people that were at the event by doing that raffle, receiving all of those cards back. And now I got a whole bunch of free leads of people to go see.
I did several of these, probably my first 12 to 18 months in the business. And I didn't have the funds to be able to increase my lead order yet, but I can still do the activity. So I get into a building, I talk to the events coordinator, I schedule the event, and then I could just turn $25 into a presentation into probably at least $2,500 in premium. Adam, I look at it a different way too. If you took a 3-hour radius around where you lived, whoever's watching this video now, tomorrow, or 10 years from now, you could probably find 4 senior centers in a 3-hour radius. I mean, unless you lived in Alaska, and that's a different problem, you probably could find 4 of these in a 3-hour radius, right? And if every Friday you were at one of those, couldn't you write additional business? Couldn't you be productive? Couldn't you do something more than sitting home and scrolling TikTok? I think in that kind of a radius, you could find 4 senior centers easily, and to keep your Fridays busy if you didn't have the money to increase your lead order yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can really make yourself out to be the insurance man or the insurance woman for that complex. If you do it right, where when people think about insurance, they're going to think about Adam, or they're going to think about Chris, because that's the guy that always comes in and takes care of us. My dad is actually really good at that too. For those of you that don't know, that my dad is in the business as well. He's real good at that too, where he'll actually just drop in at these complexes. He'll go to Dunkin' Donuts. He'll pick up a dozen donuts. If you walk up to an entrance at one of these big old apartment complexes, and they have like that dial-in buzzer, and you don't have anybody to dial into, but if you walk in with a box of donuts, you think someone might let you in?
Very true. Very true.
He'll walk in with the box of donuts, and he'll just put them like in like the little community area with like a note that just says something like, thank you so much for letting me do business with you all. If there's anybody else who needs help with their final expenses, feel free to give me a call. And he'll leave some business cards and some brochures, and he gets business that way. So just again, they already know him in the building. They're going to let him in. He brings the donuts. That helps too. But just other ways to get that additional business out of those buildings. Make yourself out to be the person in that building. So when they think about insurance, you're the one that they're going to be reaching out to.
What's crazy is that when you look at the Medicare side of what we do, so much Medicare business is generated via grassroots marketing. And a lot of what we're talking about is grassroots per se. And I would say so little of life premium on the independent space is generated by grassroots marketing. Maybe we can find like a happy medium between the two. The Lincoln Heritage agent is absolutely in the senior center, booking the presentation and writing business. The Senior Life, all of those captive companies are doing this. So why aren't we?
Yeah, you might as well. Like I said, it's what we're talking about today, just other ways of generating business outside of leads, and it's just a great way to do that, to generate that additional business. And let's see, and we talked about a lot about this. Flea markets is another one. A lot of times in the summertime, great, at least by me, it costs about $20 to rent a table. And same thing, if anything, if you have kids, I would recommend to maybe bring your kids with you. They can walk around and they can hand out brochures and flyers to people that are just kind of walking around. They can even let people know that over there at the table, there's a raffle going on, and they can win a $25 gift card. So go over there and fill out the raffle card. And same thing, you're going to generate additional leads that you can work the next week. A whole bunch of leads for $20. Well, figure $45 plus the cost and maybe some marketing materials. That's all it's going to cost you to get a whole bunch of people to catch up with. So same thing, just other ways of generating that additional business.
I think you could really call this presentation, if there's a will, there's a way. Like, this is all ways you can will yourself into a stable part of the business. But most people, let's be realistic, they're going to read that and be like, I'm not doing that. No, boo,
Yeah.
not doing the flea market. But most people that aren't willing to do it when they need to do it are going to sit at home on a Saturday and do nothing. Like, this is really, really useful information for people that just, man, I want to do this. I just don't know how to do it. There you go. A freaking flea market. There's got to be 4 of those in a 3-hour radius that you can do over the course of every Saturday. So now we've just booked your Fridays with senior centers, your Saturdays with flea markets, and you can door knock Monday through Thursday. You can absolutely do this if you want to.
Well, yeah. And one thing I wanted to mention too, those of you that are on this morning, feel free to comment. Maybe you guys have some suggestions that have worked for you guys. Again, every little bit helps. Maybe you have an idea that no one has even thought of or done. Feel free to throw it in the comments. And again, all of your feedback is greatly helpful and appreciated. So, and then let's see. And then I don't know why this slide is messed up like this. Anyways, 3-week follow-up. What this means, let's just say that, okay. Yeah. I don't know why this slide is messed up. Sorry about that. Let's just say you wrote a policy and you just, all you got to do, you let the client know after you wrote the policy that you're going to be coming back in about 3 weeks, just to follow up, make sure everything is accurate and basically what you told them it was going to be, if that makes sense to you. You make the sale, there's the trust there, the initial trust, but then they still want to make sure that everything you told them was true and that they're going to get their policy and that it is what you said it was going to be. And once all that happens, then they trust you even a little bit more. So you go back once you know that they received their policy, and you can add additional coverage even at that point. And we tested this a couple years ago, and I think, what was it, about 2 out of the 5 that we went back to, we were able to write additional business. So you just let them know that they were approved for a higher face amount with the carrier that you wrote the policy with. So let's say you wrote a $15,000 policy and they can get up to $35,000 with the carrier that you're using. Let them know that you actually qualify for up to $35,000. Did you want to take care of that today? I know that you have the 15, and that's enough if you were to die tomorrow, but what happens if you live another 20 years? So, and a lot of times they'll say, yeah, let's take care of it now. And I'll even tell them, at least right now, you can get it, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring or next year. But we know right now that you can add on to that policy that you just took out. So that's that's kind of how we do it.
Adam, I was thinking, I went to a convention once when I worked at the first organization I worked at, and the guy said, "Deliver all your policies." And I did everything I was told to do at that phase of my career, and that's why I made it to the next phase. Like, deliver all of them? All right, let's do it. It was a lot. Like, it was a lot of work because I wrote a good amount of insurance. It took up a lot of Saturdays. Then I thought to myself, this isn't profitable at all. What an absolute waste of time. But no, what I did is what Adam just mentioned. I learned how to add on coverage during the delivery phase. And a lot of carriers at that time made it incredibly simple. And I would go there with a little sticky note. And it would be, I'm just trying to see if I can get them to buy 2, 3, 4, 5, $8 a month more in coverage. Nothing crazy. And if I could get them to get $8 a month more coverage, the sticky note was attached to the policy. It would literally look like this. And I would walk in there, I'd review it, and I'd go to my sticky note, and I'd say, Adam, for an extra $8, you were pre-approved to go from 15 to 18.5. Did you want me to send that in after I leave today? 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, sometimes 1 out of 4 would do it. And I'd get a little bit of extra business. I would justify in my head the money behind delivering the policies and the persistency that year, Adam, in the high 90%. Of course, I couldn't do it forever, but as a personal producer in personal producing phase, I think it's completely sustainable. And the fact that by doing it, not only did I pay for it with extra business, but my persistency was top 3 of that IMO. I mean, that's proof of concept right there.
Well, yeah. And, and again, they're not, they're not expecting that. And well, one thing if you do it within like 30 days, you don't even have to write a new policy. No. All you have to do is call into the home office and say, hey, my client decided that I know that they were approved and they received their policy, but they want 15,000, instead of 12,000, whatever. And all it takes is like an amendment that might need to be signed, and then they'll be covered with that additional coverage, no additional policy fee. There's policy fees that are added into these rates. So a new policy, they'd be paying a little bit more for that additional coverage. So within 30 days, some of them maybe 45 days, you can do this, and you don't even have to write a new application or a new, they don't even have to take out that additional policy. So
absolutely.
And again, this is just kind of like the script for that. I'm so happy I was able to help you get covered. I wanted to let you know that you qualify for an additional $10,000 in coverage, and that will only be an additional $25 to your premium. The best time to add your coverage, like I said, is when you can get it. When you don't know, we don't know what could happen with your health in the future, but we do know that funeral prices will continue to go up. So would you like to take care of that today? It's as simple as that. And like I said, you don't even have to write a new policy if it's within those 30 days. But like Chris said, if there's a will, there's a way. And these are just additional things that a lot of agents don't want to take the time to do. But if they're sitting around wondering why there's other people out there that are more successful and they're making a lot more money than they are, they're doing some of this extra stuff. Maybe not all of it, but they're at least doing some of it. So like anything else, you get out of it as much as what you're willing to put in. Another one, help the disabled. Because of our multiple carrier offerings, no one is left behind. We can insure just about everyone we meet. Many people who are disabled don't think that they can get covered, and many agents may not be equipped to be able to write business on people who are on oxygen or who need wheelchair assistance. So for you, this is a huge opportunity. If you're driving around and you notice there's a wheelchair ramp, don't be afraid to stop. Or if you see an oxygen and use sign on the door, don't be afraid to stop. Drop by, knock on the door, let the person know what you do and that you may be able to help them. And just the same. I'm a state licensed underwriter, and I was assigned to help disabled people in the area with a state approved plan. What will pay up to $35,000 towards your burial and funeral expenses. I noticed the oxygen in use sign, or I just walked up your wheelchair ramp and just wanted to make sure that you had that someone had been by to help you go over these benefits that you may qualify for. If no one has, I just need about 5 minutes to see what you qualify for. And if the person already has coverage, great. You might be able to get them better coverage. You just never know what you could run into. But same thing. I mean, these are just little things that a lot of people don't think about. But I mean, I've walked up to plenty of those oxygen and use signs, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be a modified death benefit, but at least I know I'm going to be able to help them.
Heck, that's day one coverage with Sika now, Citizens.
Man, that's crazy.
Absolutely. I had a guy who taught me how to do the business, walked up to a screen door in like a Section 8 apartment building in South Jersey. Didn't have a lead, didn't have a name, knocked on the door. Hey, someone in this house here's on disability, aren't they? Oh, I am. Perfect. Well, I'm here to help you with your final expense coverage. Completely off the wall kind of thing to do. But he knew if he's in that kind of an area, there's other people that are in that target market. And all you got to do is confidently walk up the door and find them. Like a lead card is really just somebody that we know is old enough and on Social Security and their name. Other than that, it's just a piece of junk mail. So if you know you're in that area, in that neighborhood, in that building where there's other people in that market, you're literally walking away from business by leaving that area without asking somebody if they want your help.
Yeah, there's so many people that need this. And I mean, and we're going to talk a little bit about the cold door knocking too here in a little bit, but I mean, I've done it where maybe I just have a little bit of time. I remember one time I was in Milwaukee and I just didn't have a ton of leads. I had a little bit and I just had a little bit of time to spare. And I was at this apartment complex. Well, I don't know. It was some sort of condo sort of thing where, I mean, all of the entrances to the people's homes were on the outside. And I just started walking around one door after the next, after the next. I mean, they were like, each door was like maybe 4 feet apart from one another. And people were appreciative that I stopped. Like maybe they didn't need it or didn't want it, but they were happy that I stopped by. And I ended up generating some business that day, just kind of going around talking to people. So same thing. I mean, heck, there's business out there if you want it, but you just gotta ask. Business cards, heck, I mean, I don't know what it is in our business. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people are afraid to tell people what they do. Like they're afraid to tell people they're an insurance salesman or something. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can be very successful if you're doing a lot of the stuff that we're teaching you and make a lot of money. This is just something when you have business cards and you're in the store, don't be afraid to hand your business. If you got someone behind you in line, hand them your business card. When you're walking around at a restaurant, at a gas station, doesn't matter. Anywhere you're at, let people know who you are and what you do. I mean, heck, even if you're wearing a polo of like maybe a certain carrier, a lot of these different carriers, they might give you a polo, or maybe even your agency, you have like a logo on your shirt. It's not a bad idea. Wear it when you're out. People will come up to you and ask you what it is and what you do. But don't be afraid to go up and talk to people and tell them what you do. And there's a good chance that you'll be able to help them too. And I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, you hand out enough business cards, you're going to have people calling you. I've been in like elevators, even like a lot of these different insurance complexes, and I'll have I'll be in the elevator and there'll be people in there with me. I mean, it kind of the same thing. It's like, well, it doesn't hurt to ask. They know that I'm on my way to like an appointment or maybe just to door knock a lead, but I'll let them know what I'm doing and why I'm there. Yeah, I'm the insurance man in the building. One of the residents upstairs had requested information for some burial insurance to cover their funeral. How are you set up? Do you need coverage? Same thing. I mean, it just doesn't hurt to ask. And I've done that. And I've had people tell me, yeah, well, once you go visit with that person that you're there to see, come see me after. I'd like to talk to you. And I've written business that way. So I'll get their name and their apartment number and I'll tell them, all right, I'll be there in about an hour or so. So same thing, very similar to handing out a business card at a store. in the elevator at the senior complex. Why not let people know why you're there and what you're there to do? And there's a good chance that you're going to maybe get some additional business out of it.
Adam, my very first sale reminded me was one of these type of sales. I had bought some old leads in South Philly, aged, reworked, far from exclusive. God knows how well they even work on leads, but I was told to buy them, so I did. And I went out and I started door knocking these leads. Get into a senior building, knock on the lady's door. F off! I don't want you in my apartment. Oh, all right, no big deal. He didn't kill me. I didn't die from this. Whatever. And as I'm walking down the hall, I see a lady sitting there. And I say to myself in that moment, you've scheduled yourself to be in the field instead of working your paramedic job where you would have made $200. If you're going to do this for 10 hours, you got to find something to get out of today. I walked up to the lady. Hey, I'm in the building helping seniors with final expense coverage. Did you fill one of these out? I haven't met you yet. Conversation starts.
Yeah.
And before you know it, she takes me back to her apartment. We sat down at the kitchen table and I wrote her a good old classic American Continental policy. And 9 months later, I was back in the building adding on coverage. Like, this kind of stuff works. And I think to myself, if I had never done that and went my first day in the field and didn't make a penny when I needed every penny to pay every bill, would I have kept going? Would I have made it to the next month, the next year? Maybe not. Like, this kind of stuff really does make such a difference. And it's the very first way I made a sale.
Again, it just doesn't hurt to ask. And I've even, if there's nobody even in the elevator, I usually have like a little flyer or something that's got my information on it that talks about burial insurance. I might accidentally drop a few in the elevator. I mean, you never know who might pick them up. There's even like bulletin boards too at a lot of the different senior complexes. I've seen some where right when you get off the elevator, like every single floor, there's going to be like a little bulletin board. And I've done that too, where I'll go up and down there. It could be 20 floors. I don't care. And I'll put my little flyer with my information on each bulletin board all the way down that whole complex. You never know who's going to walk past it and be like, wow, I was just thinking about that. I need this. I need to call that guy. But if I didn't put the flyers out, I know for sure I'm not going to get a phone call. But by taking maybe 15 minutes one day and doing that, it's going to generate some business. Moving forward, side to side and 3 across. This is just basically, and maybe you've been taught this in the past, but when you're working your leads, kind of like what we're talking about, Chris, remember, majority of the people in the area are in the same situation. While out door knocking your leads, knock on the next door neighbor's door and also 3 doors across the street. You know, maybe you've had trouble too getting in touch with your lead. You can go to the neighbors with concern, hoping that that person in the lead is okay. You can explain what you do, and you may be able to help the neighbors as well. This turns one lead into a lead with 6 prospects. So real simple. Yeah. You know, I'm here to see, Miss Betty across the street, and, she sent this card into us, and I've been having a heck of a time getting in touch with her. Have you seen her around lately? I just wanted to make sure she was okay because this is important. And I know that she sent this back to us for a reason. And if anything, they'll let you know the best time to get in touch with the person. You can ask more questions. Is there usually another car there if she's home? But then while you're there, ask them how they're set up. Maybe you might be able to do something for them as well.
Adam, real quick, I know we don't want to take forever on this one, but I got door knocked last week. It wasn't a final expense door knock. There was a company in the neighborhood cutting a tree down or something. I don't even know. And
yep,
the guy walks up, knocks on the door, catches me off guard, probably in the middle of a video. Hey, do you need any help with trees? We're in the neighborhood trimming trees today. No, I don't need any help with trees, but he did that and he was looking for additional business. And then ironically, it snowed a lot last week and we saw a plow company go by and plow a driveway, corporate company. And we thought to ourselves, if they would have just door knocked us and said, would you like your driveway plowed as well? I don't even care how much it would have been. I probably would have had them do it. So the tree company was showing the extra effort and asking neighbors if they had any trouble with their trees, but the plow company didn't. Like, think about that.
And the funny thing about people showing up to it, it drives my wife nuts sometimes, but someone has the confidence to come up to my door. I get a lot of these. I think just the way my house sits facing like north and south. So I'll get these electric, the solar people coming to my house. They'll come to my house, or I'll get like the pest control people. And I'm always running to grab my business card, and I try to recruit the people.
There you go.
So, because I'm like, heck, if they're willing to go up to people's houses to sell that, or even to sell like security systems, things like that, I'm thinking, heck, I mean, they're going to make a lot more money selling insurance. I just got to see if I can talk them into doing it, and then I'm, can help them. So, just a little recruiting tip for those of you out there that maybe are working with agents. If someone else is door knocking you, give them your business card, talk to them about what you do, and you might be able to bring them on to do business with you in the future.
There you go.
Let's see. So then current policyholders, we talked a little bit about this already, but one of the biggest mistakes we make as agents is not contacting, servicing, or reviewing our current policyholders. Often we've underinsured them in the beginning, and I do that a lot. I like to focus on the initial need right then and there. I want to make sure they can afford it. I talked about this a lot last week. If you weren't on the training last week, hop over to YouTube and watch the presentation that I loaded up on there. But I like to keep it affordable. I want to make sure that they can pay it every month. I can always go back later and write more. So I usually write enough for the initial need right now. But then I know, because this is what I do. I know I'm going to go back in probably about a year and do what I can to write them additional coverage. And over the last few weeks, I've been doing that a lot. I've written a lot of additional business just off of those existing policyholders. And remember too, if they're younger, they are subject to increasing funeral costs 20, 30 years down the road. They may not have enough to pay for a plot, opening, closing, vault, marker. I mean, they got enough for right now. I want to make sure they have enough for even 20 years down the road. And they may have just retired. They might have lost their group policy. Sometimes that happens too. They have other coverage. When you leave the job, you lose it, or that coverage really decreases quite a bit. So there's always ways or reasons to go back and write additional business on your clients. And like we talked about earlier, Chris, if you don't keep up with your clients, another insurance company is going to, or another agent is going to. So we need to stay in front of our clients. And in my opinion, we get paid renewals for a reason, and we get paid renewals to service our clients. Part of servicing our clients is making sure that they always have enough coverage to cover what this is intended to cover.
I always wondered why in the beginning, or more often, there isn't training or conversation about your book of business. Like, I think I kind of stumbled on the idea. Maybe I heard it from somebody in some video one day on a training like this, and I thought, why am I not doing that? Like, why not? And then more and more business I write, the more and more clients I can go back and see. Heck, clients fall off the books, and it typically wasn't on purpose, and they can typically be rewritten or conserved. And life events take place. People buy more coverage. I went into a home once, and since I had been there the first time, the guy added like $300 a month of additional premium with other carriers. And my mind was blown. I'm like, they really do buy more from other people. Why am I not trying to get in front of these folks more often so I can be that person?
Yeah, I had an agent I was talking to over the last couple of weeks. This guy, he writes on average easily over 100,000 in premium every year. And he's been doing this for, I would say, probably close to at least 10 years. Like, this guy's got a really big book of business. And he's like, I've never done that. I've never gone back and tried to write additional coverage. I'm so focused on just always ordering leads and focusing on the leads. And I'm like, man, you just got to go back through your book of business. I know you got a lot of business that you can write there. And he started doing it. And he's over the last few weeks as well. I mean, he's been writing more business just off of those existing policyholders. One thing to keep in mind too, if you're door knocking leads, well, that person's already let you in the house. So they're going to let you in again. More than likely, I would hope that they're going to remember you, but more than likely, you're not going to have a tough time getting back in the door, just to let them know that you're going to be doing a policy review. And that's what I'm going to lead into here too, just kind of talk about the policy review and how I handle that. But you got to keep good records. Yeah, what's up, Chris?
But not even that they've let you in the house before. You're about to say it. You already know their name, you know their birth date, you know their social security number, you know their beneficiary, and you might even know their bank account information. Like, it's the easiest opportunity you're ever going to find once you identify the opportunity. You already have everything you need to submit more business. Could you imagine getting a lead that comes pre-filled with their name, birth date, address, social, and bank account? That's what these are when you go out there and you see these people.
Yeah, and if you're good with keeping good records, you should have a copy of the initial application that you wrote. With me, I mean, I keep everything on the cloud. I just use the iCloud, and I have everything right in there. And so when I'm visiting with the policyholder, everything's right there. Yeah, you're right. I have their name. I got their social. I got their bank information. It's the easiest application to write. I don't even have to re-ask those questions. Everything's right there in front of me. I mean, you're in and out of the house in 20 minutes with a new additional application. But you got to do your part first by keeping those good records of your clients. You can't just write the business and move on to the next and not keep record of all that stuff. You got to save those copies of the applications so you can always go back. Not all carriers are going to provide that information to you. And heck, you just never know what could happen. I mean, you might be writing business with a carrier where then all of a sudden they decide they don't want to do business anymore, any more final expense business. And then you're not going to be able to get that information. So, so you want to make sure to keep good record. So no matter what happens in the future with whatever carriers you're using, you're going to have that information and you're still going to be able to service your clients.
Exactly.
And then, like I said, visit them once a year. It's a good idea too. Send them birthday cards, send them holiday cards. I say holiday cards because I like to send stuff that maybe other agents might not send. Like I've sent out Easter cards. I've sent out Thanksgiving cards. How many people get a Thanksgiving card in the mail? Well, I mean, heck, if they're having a bunch of people over at their house and they see and everybody else in their home sees this Thanksgiving card sitting there on their counter or maybe hanging on their refrigerator, they might be wondering who sent it to them. So little things like that make a difference. Even like I said, Easter. If you're visiting with a husband and wife, ask them how long they've been married. Ask them when their anniversary is. Send them an anniversary card in the mail. Those are just little things that are going to separate you from the other agents out there who don't think to do those sort of things. And the clients appreciate that. You're making that client like a real person. And then they feel like they're more than just like another client or just like a number to you. Like it shows that you care, and it makes it a lot easier to be able to write that additional business in the future. And then let's see. And be sure they have a magnetic business card on their refrigerator. You can order those. You can even go to the office supply store and you can buy sticky magnets that you can put your own business card on. Give them the magnetic business card. They put it on their refrigerator. And then every time they're going to the fridge to get something, it's like you're staring at them. You're right in front of them. And easy to get a hold of you if they ever need you. Easy to get referrals that way. Someone else might see the business card. Oh, that's my insurance man. And if you're not doing it, same thing. I mean, you're walking away from a lot of additional business.
Let's be real. Your client is going to lose their policy, almost guaranteed. I get the call all the time. I've lost my policy. How is this possible? You just got it last month. They're going to take your business card and throw it in the stack of mail that they've never opened, but they're not going to lose their fridge. Like, They're not. Unless they move or buy a new fridge, which is never going to happen, they're not going to lose their fridge. You take your business card magnet and you put it on the fridge, they're going to see you, have your number, you're going to mark your territory, they're going to call you when they need more coverage. And when you show up and they try to say they don't remember who you are, you can say, Mildred, I'm on your fridge. Now stop it. Let me in the house. It just, if you're
Chris,
not doing that, you're being silly.
Yeah, and if Chris, if your client has any thought of canceling their policy, would you rather them call you or call into the insurance company?
I almost never want them to call the company. I'd rather them
Yeah.
call me, call our VA team that can answer the call, take a message. I don't want them calling the company. Like, they'll call the wrong company and get bad information sometimes. It's the most unbelievable thing. I called the company and they said they had no record of me. Oh, who did you call, Mildred? Well, that's not your insurance company. That's why they have no record of you. You want them to call you for almost everything. And as much as you don't want them to call you because you think it's annoying, every time they call you, it's a hot lead. It's a new opportunity. It's a warm transfer. Think about it differently in your head. They're thinking about insurance. So something's happened. Something's going on. You're talking to them. How can I turn this into a new opportunity?
And if they're thinking about canceling their policy and they're looking for a number to call, well, when your business card is just right in front of them on the fridge, to me, I feel like there's a better chance that they're going to call you before their policy. They might not even know where their policy's at, but they know that your business card's right there, right on the fridge. So let's see. Then let's take a look. This is what I use. And for any of you who would like a copy of this, feel free to shoot me an email, info@adambrsan.com. Or just go on my website, adambrsan.com, shoot an inquiry over to me. This is the funeral cost inflation chart that I put together. I actually updated this last year. And when I was putting together new numbers for the year, at the time, inflation was like 8%. And I did it at 8%, and like it was just ridiculous to see how much funeral prices would go up if it stayed at 8%. I was like, I can't be showing that to people. So what I did, I did inflation over the last 50 years from 1972 to 2022, the average inflation, which is 4.02%, and then I did at 6%. And then we just kind of break it down year by year by year. And this, I'm telling you, boy, this is just a tool that really helps me when it comes to adding that additional coverage. It's one thing if I'm telling people how much funeral prices have gone up and what they're probably going to project to be, but when they can like visually see it, it makes a big difference. And so when I'm doing that policy review, what I do is I go through, like I said, I more than likely probably have a copy of the initial application. So I'm going to go through that. I'm going to say, okay, it looks like you have your son Jerome down as the primary beneficiary. And then we have your daughter Julie down as like if something were to happen to you and Jerome at the same time. So then, is that how you still want things set up? And they'll tell me either yes or no. If I got to get a change of beneficiary form sent out to them, I will. But then I'll go over their amount of coverage. And then it looks like you have the $12,000 and you're paying $42 a month. Now, Mrs. Jones, you're 65 years old right now. I mean, you look like you'll probably live to be at least 85 years old, don't you think? And they always say yes. Oh yeah, I'll probably live to be at least 85. My mom lived a long time. She lived to be 92 years old, whatever. So right then and there, they're just kind of setting themselves up for what I'm going to say next. I pull this chart out and I say, okay, well, I know you have the 12,000 and look at right now, average cost for what you want is right around $12,000. But in the year 2044, in 20 years, the average funeral is going to be over $25,000. So it's great that you have the 12,000 to cover right now. What happens when you live another 20 years? And right away, she's like, yeah, you're right. I do need more coverage. Can you give me a quote for another 5,000 and maybe like another 10,000? And then that's what I do. I put the quotes together, and more than likely, I'm going to be adding that additional coverage. So, like I said, the initial visit, I want to make sure they can afford it. They paid it a whole year and they've kept up with it. And now I'm more, I guess, confident to add that additional coverage, knowing that I'm probably not setting myself up for a chargeback by adding additional coverage at that point. And next would be cold door knocking. Cold door knocking, and then we're just about done. But like I said, I mean, heck, for those that don't have leads, or even in between leads, when you have a little bit of time, it's not a bad way of doing business. I've told the story in the past where I was overfinanced with the first company that I did final expense with, where my manager at the time, he would not give me any more leads. I was 22 years old, I think, maybe 23. And he's like, you got to figure out a way to write some business. Like, I'm not giving you any more leads. And so I had to figure out a way. I knocked on doors in the areas that I was writing business, where I had leads, and kind of like what we talked about. I knew that there were other people in that area that were kind of in the same situation. So I just started door knocking, and maybe 15, 20 doors in, I got in a house, I wrote a piece of business. So, and again, this is just something a lot of agents don't want to do because it's hard. Well, if you don't have money for leads, if you're broke, to me, I think being broke is harder. So
Yeah.
you got to make that decision. Do I want to continue to be broke, or do I want to figure out a way to make some money? We tested this again a couple years ago. Every 40 doors you knock on is going to accumulate to one sale. 20 doors an hour, if you're in the right area where those houses are close together, could definitely do this. 100 doors a day, heck, that's 2.5 sales. That's 1,600 a day in premium going up and down the block. No expense besides the gas that costs you to get out there. And you're getting some good exercise as well. You do that for 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah, you do that for 5 days. 8,100 in premium, just going up and down the block, knocking on doors all day. And so, like I said, people don't want to do it, but it does work. And I mean, that's a lot of premium that you could write without any overhead, without any expense involved. You do that for the whole year, for 50 weeks, over 400,000 in premium, without even without even purchasing a lead. So, like I said, leads is the name of the game. Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. But heck, if you can't do it that way, you could make a habit out of just cold door knocking and be successful at it.
I was thinking this morning, my closing thought for the day, all the people who had a carrier contract or a license, a carrier contract, a pack of leads in a few weeks to make it work, and that didn't. And the people that failed out of the industry, that sit back at their office, their retail job, their work from home position, and at the end of the pay week don't have enough money to make things work. And they think to themselves of the opportunity that they wasted. There are people like that aren't watching these videos because they don't want to remind themselves, but they wasted this opportunity. Adam just showed you over the course of the last 1 hour and 3 minutes all kinds of ways to make money without buying a single lead. And if you have a will, he has a way, and he just presented it to you. Pretty awesome, Adam.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Yeah, like I said, if there's a will, there's a way. And these are things that that I've done for years that have worked, and there's no reason that they can't work for other people. I think one of the last ones I have on here is just car magnets. Like cost you maybe $30 or $40. You could go on Vistaprint even, I think, and have one made. This was one I took a picture actually right off of the back of my dad's car. Life burial insurance with his phone number. It's as simple as that. While you're working leads, why not let everyone in the area know what you're doing? I had one used to be on the side of my car doors, just said life burial insurance, affordable rates, with my phone number. When you're driving around, you'd be surprised. All of a sudden your phone starts ringing. And I've even pulled over before. I'll tell the person, yeah, you got a couple minutes. I was just on my way to my next stop, but I at least got a couple minutes. If you wanted to pull off, we could talk about it real quick. And same thing, there's business there, and it costs you about the cost of maybe one lead to get that magnet made. And then you just never know, people that could come up to you and say, yeah, I need insurance. Can you give me a quote? Me and my wife were just talking about that. So that's about it for additional training. Again, adambrsan.com. Sign up for the weekly trainings. You will get an email every week of what the coming topic is going to be. You can register. You can watch live on our StreamYard, as well as on the different platforms where we have our trainings live every week, the Insurance Life and everything in between. Facebook group, if you are on there watching today, thank you. My own business page, as well as on LinkedIn. And then again, all of these trainings I put on YouTube, and the audio version will be on our podcast. So if you're looking for a new opportunity, check out unitylifegroup.com/careers. Shoot me over an inquiry. I'd be more than happy to set up a discussion with you. In-home sales, as well as sales platforms available. We do have a lead program. You're never going to run out of people to see. If for some reason you do, we just presented a whole bunch of other things that'll keep you occupied. So you're not just going to sit around in your car doing nothing all day. Weekly trainings, as you can see, as well as ongoing support. Agent engagement is really key, and we really focus on that. And we do a lot to keep agents engaged. We have our weekly trainings. Chris has a morning call every single morning. So you can get in the car, you can listen to the morning training, kind of get up and motivated and ready to go. And then from there, heck, you need some other stuff to listen to the rest of the day. Hop on the podcast, and you can listen to some other things that are, again, all of this is just there to help you get better. And, we're talking about years of experience in the business. I'm going in 21 years in the business. Chris has been in it 9, so over 30 years combined. Lots of knowledge here to be able to help you guys just get better. Again, multiple carrier options, high contracts available for those that maybe have a small group of agents, and you're looking to continue to build and grow, and you just need a little bit more room to be able to do that. We can help you. We can put you in a good spot to succeed.
We're literally giving away money right now for engagement. It's crazy. Like, all you got to do is do your job, and you could win money right now. That's almost unheard of in contests.
That's it. So again, thanks again. We went a little bit over today, but heck, if you need anything, feel free to reach out. Here's my contact information. And like I said, shoot me an inquiry too, if you want a copy of that inflation chart that can really help you when it comes to writing that additional business. And, or if you want a copy of the presentation, and go back, watch the one last week. I went through the presentation and replayed it last night on the group page as well. And I think it's still on there now if you want to go back and watch it. So thanks again. I hope you all have a great week. Thanks again for joining me this morning, Chris. And look forward to seeing you all again, same time, same place next Monday. Thanks again.